All right, sporting this lovely green color. It is a Zerg player. It's the first one of this match so far in game number 5. It's going to be SlayerS Dark on the top spawn of Atlantis Space Bear. And way over here on the left side, we have Evil Genius's Puma, who just cleaned up SlayerS Miso on the previous map. He's the red Terran on the left side spawn.
That's right. And as we pointed out, there are 3 distinct animals here. You have this bear, then you have the crazy psychotic animal here with the large tusks, and then you have the koala down at the bottom.
Yeah.
But this is the GSL version, so there's the much scarier face in the middle.
It's a beaver skull.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Either way, early start here for Puma. Just going to go ahead and drop that depot at the top of the ramp. Makes me think he's going to go ahead and put his barracks right next to it. Not going to do some sneaky 11-11 stuff, as he would have already sent out, you know, some SCVs somewhere else on the map to try and do that. What just happened? I just saw some guts flying around.
Oh, just an extractor trick.
Oh, just extractor trick.
Yeah,
okay.
he did an extractor trick, and then Dark actually scouting on about the same time that we saw Hyun scouting yesterday, pretty much all day against Gumiho. So once again in there with a very early drone scout, make sure he knows exactly what his opponent is up to, and his opponent is up to a 15 CC, so he has the potential to do a little bit of harassment with this drone. All right, so the drone, yeah, does have a chance to try and nibble down one of those SCVs trying to build a structure. We'll see if Dark is going to continue in Hyun's footsteps, though, and start to... didn't we? We did reveal that these games were played last night, right? So he could have actually watched Hyun versus Gumiho and picked up a couple of pointers. So maybe he'll go for the 6-minute hatch. These games are as recent as they get for IPL. Hot off the presses. IPTL. Yes. Yeah, they played... Come on. I believe it was 1 a.m. our time today. Yeah. So these games are actually from today. Yeah. So yeah, Dark could have had a chance to watch Hyun. Puma could have had a chance to watch Gumiho. So maybe some mech will be happening, but we'll see. Obviously, as things get going, no SCVs getting destroyed by that drone. He is going to be forced off by a second SCV. And we've seen some Terran players been doing this lately. Go for gas first, after the CC first. It is very risky, but, you know, it can still certainly work. And Puma is going to have that, he's going to have 100 gas and a factory as soon as this barracks is done. And Dark... Oh, wow, deciding to go 3 hatch before pool as a result of seeing CC first. That's a pretty gutsy move. Not quite Hyun-esque, as Hyun would have waited for 6 minutes. Yes. Obviously. But, yeah, SlayerS Dark just going to take so many hatcheries. Puma not actually scouting it out. He's going to check out the main first. He's going to see that pool is really delayed, though. That's a super late pool when you've already got a gas up and the natural up. So he probably is, yeah, he's definitely going to go check out that third base and discover the shenanigans that Dark is trying to pull off here. Factory coming up for Puma now, as well as flipping over those 2 CCs into orbitals. Yep, that's right. And this is a very well-timed outbuild. We actually saw DreamHack Valencia, 4GG, try to go after this on some pretty big maps, and we'll see if it works out for him as much as it did for 4GG. Of course, 4GG used it in a very aggressive manner, as 4GG does in every single game he plays. Puma certainly was originally known for his aggression, but lately, you know, I almost feel bad for him to a degree, because it always used to be when Puma would pop up in game, you'd be like, oh, this guy, you know. McCheeserton. Yeah, you know, he got popular off of 1-1-1, off of quick all-ins, things like that, and now Puma has just developed into this immensely incredible macro player, and, you know, I don't think he gets enough credit for it, because he's actually really, really solid in long games. Well, I mean, he hasn't 11-11'd, he hasn't done the 1-1-1. He's actually building a second factory even, so none of his old sort of cliches are surfacing here. We'll see as he continues on how much mech he's actually going to try to invest in. That second factory is a nice indicator, but you know, no armories springing up super fast or anything. We'll see as he continues on what sort of structures he's going to be adding. But on the same token, Dark still has not revealed his build. He is getting Zergling speed, but I don't believe he's built any other tech structures this whole game. And Dark, did he see the second factory? No, it's just out of range there. The Zerglings aren't really going to be able to get that much done. They did clean up 1 worker, but that was about all. So, I mean, things are kind of interesting at the moment. Puma producing 3 Hellions at a time for now certainly is showing a little bit of what could be mech, but he also could just be going, man, is he going to go quad Hellion? I mean, this is almost what like Morrow did back at the IPL 3 qualifiers. Let's see if he ends up going for like quad Hellion Marauder all in or something. I'm not really sure what direction he's going to take.
don't recall that series. Morrow playing Terran still always just reminds me of as many Reapers as can fit on a map at one time. But lots of Lings already out for Dark. He is actually still not committing to Baneling Nest or Roach Warren or even Lair. Instead, he's going to be rolling some upgrades for his melee units to get started. He's just got a lot of Lings. He's not going to be able to combat these 5 Hellions, so he's doing the right thing, getting out of there. Another command center getting put up for Puma at the Vespine base.
I forgot who Morrow was playing against, but it was on Zelnaga Fortress, the 3-player map.
Definitely don't remember many of the games from there.
Yeah, but you know the map I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And all he did was make quad Hellion, and his opponent decided to go defensive Roaches, but it didn't matter because you got that many Hellions, you still kill everything.
I do recall thousands of flame arcs killing Roaches, where it was just like, the splash. The fact that it splashed was the big thing, because even if a Hellion takes 20 shots to kill 1 Roach, 40 Hellions takes 20 shots to kill, as many Roaches as can fit in the line of fire. And when you have that many Hellions, it's like 1 shot. So yeah, I do recall Morrow just going insane with the fire bats. I wonder, not fire bats, sorry, Hellions. I've already got fire bats on the brain from Heart of the Swarm. They're called Battle Hellions, which
that's right.
It even has bat in the name. Come on.
They're fire bats.
Yeah, they're fire bats.
Well, here comes Puma now, and of course he's got another huge round of Hellions behind this. There is 1 Spine Crawler up at the front, but of course you got to think that Dark is saying, oh, okay, well, it's not so bad anymore. I cleaned out those Hellions. Oh, wait, there's more! And he did actually pick up on this a little bit with the Overlord up at the front, but of course, Puma's just not ending. He did drop down double armory, though, so we are going to see mech here in just a bit.
All right, he is actually, he's going to start working toward more factory units, as many as he can support. +1/+1 already on the way for Puma. Dark, on the other hand, is finally committing to some Roaches, which will be okay. There's no tanks really out, no Thors obviously either, so just these Hellions to deal with. Roaches are the best quick response that he can do. So these Hellions are going to power down these Roaches, though. Again, that splash is just so good when you have tons of Hellions available. They don't do much individually, but when you have a ton of them like that, this can be really, really hard to fight back against. Dark making 5 more Roaches right now, trying to get that layer up, and Puma at the moment is just buying himself as much time as he can. There is something going on down in the bottom. Oh, just Ling's waiting by a floating barracks. All right, I was like, what's going on down there where neither player is actually responding or doing anything, but yeah, Puma is actually going to come over and just torch those Lings very quickly. That's right, and he's built up a lot of gas, so we can start moving into more mech production. 2 more factories on the way. He's got a starport coming up after that, and we'll see if he wants to play that Sky Terran possibly here in a bit, or eventually switch over to that, or if he's going to stick with all these nice mech upgrades for a while. And he did not take the high yield Vespine Geyser, which I think is interesting. He probably will in a bit. I mean, that's got to be his purpose for taking his 3rd there. Few drones are roasted, but the Roaches are going to be enough to start driving away these Hellions. How many Hellions are out right now? Go ahead and unit. 19 Hellions. Man, that's more than you see normally in ZVT. Usually it's going to be 6 to 8 and try to score as many drones as you can in the early game, but Puma's still just cranking them out and getting Infernal Pre-Igniter, Blue Flame, as well as Banshees and Siege Tech both hitting the field now. So this DPS army is going to be very, very substantial here soon if he can just, keep these Hellions alive, perhaps even repair them back up to get one big cohesive force moving. It doesn't look like Dark has the capacity to really keep up with that much splash. Yeah, and Dark did not research speed at all for those Roaches, so they are going to be a little bit slow to react to this. Nice scan there, picks off all of the active creep tumors and stops the progression of creep forward in this game. Pretty efficiently there, does a little bit more damage to the Roaches and then scoots out. But Dark, he's moving up to a 4th base. His tech is eventually starting to hit here. His Infestation Pit is done as well. He did just end that. Yeah, there it is up at the front. A little bit exposed, but not going to be really exposed to any drops, which is kind of nice. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, and by the time a Terran opponent is up in your base like that, it's kind of dangerous anyway. Usually you've already lost your army at that point, so having the Infestation Pit there really isn't even as risky as putting it in your main, because it would be a lot more open to drop attacks. But man, this is more Hellions than we just checked on. This is 24 rolling across the middle of Atlantis spaceship. He does have siege tanks back at home with a Changeling sitting directly on it. You can see some green units of Dark way down on the bottom side of the map. There's no way they're going to be able to respond to these 24 Hellions in time, so Puma has a great opportunity with Blue Flame finish now to get a lot of damage done on these Lings and eventually the drones inside of the main and natural of Dark.
Backing up for now, though, as he's just going to clean up more creep tumors and eventually start to push his way back in. Roaches are going around the side to try and trap these forces, but honestly, Puma picks up on it very easily, and he's actually going to move down and attack this head on.
Yeah, look at, I mean, the production tab shows a lot of different things for Dark, trying to cover as many bases as he can, but Puma literally is going to do as much damage with these Hellions as possible. He's getting +3/+3 already. Is that +3/+3 for
no,
the vehicles?
2-2.
Oh, that's 2-2. That's right. Red is the Tier 3 upgrade, but he's just pouring in upgrades, all of his upgrades into mech. He's able to focus very easily on these many Hellions. They are fast enough to be able to hit multiple sides at once. You can see actually reducing the surface area by keeping them up against the wall like that. Really good move from Puma. So he does have only about half the Hellions that he had a moment ago, but he did a lot of damage. He's keeping Dark inside his base. He's forcing Dark to build units that perhaps he might not want to. And the whole time, Puma is also building these tanks and Banshees in pretty large numbers to be able to deal with any big fight a little later on. The Banshee DPS is really going to be crazy, like we saw from Gumiho yesterday against Hyun.
Well, with Cloak, actually, I like the delayed Cloak choice as well, because Dark doesn't really have any sort of detection available. I may have an Overseer or two. Yeah, there's one Overseer on the map, but that's about it. And that's not going to be able to react completely in time. It's actually sitting down his opponent's base, so that Banshee will be able to do quite a bit of damage.
All right. Well, if he's got the Banshees near his army, or you know, separate, he could try and do some hit and run tactics with the Banshee. Right now, though, he's just going to use them to clean up this Roach force. Is that 4 Banshees overhead? Looks like, yeah. So he's got 4 Banshees unable to be harmed by the Zerg player Dark at this time until any infestors start to show up. And he's not bringing any along for the ride. I saw him make a few, but they're still gathering energy back at home. These Roaches and Lings not going to be able to stand up to the Hellions and Banshees.
Yeah, the Banshees will eventually clean this up. It's just a question of whether or not Dark can do damage here. At the same time, Puma's moving out across the map, and that's a lot of infested Terrans, but he already loses most of his infestors just in general. And now that the infested Terrans are out, the light units just get evaporated by the Blue Flame Hellions.
Yeah, that's total. I would use the word incinerated, maybe.
Yes.
Evaporated is when liquid turns into a gas, but you were trying. You were just
kidding. Geez, the pity vote from Josh.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, they were destroyed very quickly by the Hellions. That's so much splash damage. Dark, again, doesn't have a great way to deal with this. Banelings are going to come in and try and deal with the Hellions, but Hellions are pretty quick. He does land some of those Baneling shots, but there's still tanks standing and still some Hellions. He's going to supplement this force with the Banshees. Now 5 Banshees with Cloak available, so even if some anti-air did magically show up, those infestors, for example, Cloak could allow these Banshees to get out safely. Fungal growth obviously being the best option for Dark to try and combat this.
Yeah, and so he's going to start picking away at these queens, picking away at hatcheries. He will be able to successfully DPS down this one here in just a second as he continues to reinforce the mech position and keep pushing up. At the same time, Dark is going to try and swing on by. Mech Force is relatively immobile, but there's so many Hellions out there that I think it's going to be okay for Puma as he continues to kill workers.
Yeah, and the Banshees really can just go respond to this, and he can keep his entrenched position up at the front with the Hellions and the tanks for as long as he needs to. The Banshees obviously have no threat from the Roaches and Lings, so they can go clean that up, protect the base. They can even focus down these Baneling cocoons if he sees them quick enough. That would probably be the best target. Yeah, he actually forces Dark to cancel a couple of those with the Banshees overhead. There goes one Baneling, but I almost called him Gumiho. Puma is moving forward now to the 3rd base, and these drones are going to be under a lot of pressure right now from the tanks and Hellions trying to bait the Roaches back into the tank fire.
Yeah, and, you know, Puma does still have a lot of forces here. I mean, a few infested Terrans are going to help absorb some shots, and it looks like Dark is going to attack from 2 sides here. He is going to be able to successfully take out most of these forces. That was a very nice job of doing so, but the Banshees are still flying overhead. They're still doing damage, and and a scan right there would pick off 4 infestors.
That is a 60 supply lead for Dark right now.
Yes, it is.
Things were looking pretty good for Puma. I really thought he had the right unit composition to keep going, but
I still think he's okay, though. I mean, the reason being that he may be down by 60 supply, but he's got nothing to counter out these Banshees. He's still killing workers. He's up to 34 of them now. His opponent is mined out of his main. He's got a lot of drones. That supply that's just sitting around doing nothing.
So the base count is primarily what's keeping him in the game.
Yes.
At a 60 supply deficit, that's pretty scary, but Dark really cannot afford to go over and kill him. You're right.
And 2 of the Banshees do fall, but they are eventually going to be moved out of there. They could actually swing back and pick up some more kills here, but no, it's just gas going to be put down for Dark.
He has to keep something alive because this is a massive number of roaches right now. This third base that he took, this is the third one that he took. It's the High Vespine base, is relatively undefended from this huge wave of roaches that are moving across the map now. These Banshees are going to have to do as much damage as they possibly can before the roaches decide where they want to go.
And he is killing retreating units here. They're actually being replaced with infestors at the moment, which is a little bit scarier for Puma to try and deal with.
Yep, and we do have the full vehicle upgrades getting completed here very soon, and we've got you know, +3 weapons already done, +3 armor on the way. Another starport being added on. Puma is taking 2 more command centers. Probably going to be flipping those to orbitals so that you can keep the mule production going and not have to worry about SCVs quite as much. We do have the Planetary Fortress picking up a couple of kills, and right now both players are in sort of a rebuilding phase after they were fighting constantly for the first 10 to 15 minutes.
And a 22-minute hive, of course. I mean, Dark wanted that out way quicker. Hellions are going to get a good position here to start poking away at the hatchery. It'll take a while for them to DPS it down, but they do force a cancel, and that's a good benefit. It was certainly worth drawing those Hellions over there. So, you know, Puma's almost maxed now to his maxed opponent, but you see the difference in income rates. The bank for Puma is quite a bit better than Dark at the moment.
That's right. If they do trade, Puma will be able to remax a lot of mech units. He's totally skipping on Thors, unlike Gumiho yesterday, and there are no Ravens out, but that's okay. He's going to continue on with pure splash damage units. All these Hellions and siege tanks are going to be pretty effective against the mass roach composition that Dark's got going on. Fungals and Infested Marines are probably going to be the turning point here for Dark, if anything.
Oh, wow. And these roaches are just being slaughtered. They're caught between a rock and a hard place here with all of the tanks and with the Banshees flying overhead as well. And Puma going to move himself back into position, swinging through yet more Blue Flame Hellions. There's a scan. There's more destruction. And now we're talking about a supply advantage, but an 80 supply advantage for Puma.
Wow, that's so fast. So many roaches just got cleaved down. 11 Mutalisks did just hit the field, though. Those will be able to deal with the entrenched position because Banshees obviously can't hit them, tanks can't hit them, Hellions can't hit them. So he's going to force some Thor production for the first time in this game, and with more starports being added on, he'll be able to crank out some Vikings.
Nice.
The Banshees all getting caught by a fungal, and the infested Marines down below going to be able to do some damage, as well as this Mutalisk. One more fungal would be able to probably seal the deal on those Banshees, but Hellions have managed to sneak into the third base again. That's 85 workers killed now for Puma.
And usually this is the point where I exclaim and I'm happy because I see Seeker Missile and Ravens coming out now, but Dark is already down by 100 supply, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see said Seeker Missiles.
Yeah, now that the fourth base has been basically totally denied, destroyed, and the Hellions are basically just having free time inside the Zerg base, this is looking pretty grim. 36 minerals for Dark available. He's not able to build anything. He just doesn't have any minerals at all. He's going to build 1 drone at a time. And yeah, being mined out at the main obviously is a huge detriment to him. He's got a base trying to get established up at the top. The Mutalisks are really going to have to do a bunch of damage here if Dark has any hope of reestablishing. But the Hellions, that's the real problem. He doesn't have a way to deal with them because they are so fast. They can cover a lot of ground. They can catch these hatcheries trying to get reestablished and do a lot of damage. There's just not enough mineral income now. I think it's going to be too little too late with the Mutalisks.
It's a bad day to be a worker in this game. 114 have been killed so far. Now the Mutalisk does fall, and the Mutalisks are taking continued damage as well. So I mean, Puma just has perfect control of everything on the map. And Dark does have, I mean, all of his supply is basically army at this stage of the game. But even with that amount of infestors, I mean, he would need to kill multiple bases in order to try and swing back into this.
Yeah, and he's not going to because his standing army is so small. He cannot replenish his income at all. He's got a couple of infestors trying to be sneaky, but they might even move into the scan. Yeah, that's not going to work out. The Raven's overhead now as well, so they can go ahead and help out with PDDs and auto turrets and things like that. These infested Marines, again, all coming out. They could actually do a lot of damage since the Hellions are now not an issue, but there are a lot of Thors standing, and they're going to blast them down pretty quickly. There are those auto turrets, and wow, that's a GG before losing any more bases. Dark knows he's beat, and man, that puts EG up 4-1 on SlayerS right now.
Yeah, EG's just 1 game away from taking the set and going 2-0 in their group.
That's
wow.
That's kind of unexpected. I mean, Really, EG Liquid was closer at this point in the series.
Yes, it was.
I mean, that's saying something. SlayerS a little bit of fall from grace. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, they're not out. They have lots of amazing players still left on the roster. Someone like Coca could come out and get a lot of kills, as he's done in the past.
Well, it is a Zerg player.
And its name is Cocella? No.
KDY. It's he's actually a player without a Liquipedia entry. His name is Kim Dong-young, so I assume that's what the KDY stands for.
Probably not.
I know nothing about this guy. I really don't. So KDY is going to be the final player for SlayerS. He has to come back and he has to beat the likes of Puma and then JYP, Stefano, Thorzane, Idra.
Anyone they want to use really could be dangerous. Let's check the TLPD during the break, and we'll come back and see if he even has any games on record at all.